of the African National Human Rights Institutions, senior officials of the government of Rwanda here present, heads of delegation representing African National Commissions for Human Rights here present, members of the diplomatic corps here present, members representing the United Nations, members of higher learning institutions, members of the civil society organizations here present, members of media houses here present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Good morning. I wish you all the warmest welcome in Rwanda, the land of 1,000 hills. I hope you had a nice day, those who came before. My name is Muhongerwa Patricia, the Commissioner in the National Commission for Human Rights of Rwanda, and I will be the moderator of today's activities of this meeting. On behalf of the National Commission for Human Rights, and on my own behalf, let me express our appreciation to the organizers of the 4th Conference of the African National Preventive Mechanism Network to have chosen Rwanda to be its host from today to 26th June. The theme for this meeting, for this conference, is Women and Children in Detention, focusing on gender-responsive and child-sensitive NPM approaches. It is a privilege to have you, members of this network, and other key stakeholders around here to participate in this conference during these challenging times, and your commitment remains variable to our continuous engagement to promote and protect human rights of our citizens. The network serves as a forum for strengthening preventive monitoring practices, sharing experiences and good practices, and enhancing collective efforts to prevent torture and other forms of ill-treatment in places of deprivation of liberty across Africa, in line with international and regional human rights standards, of course, yeah. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me take you through today's program. We begin by the opening remarks, followed by a photo session, and to be taken from outside when we are done with opening remarks. Thereafter, we shall have the first presentation on women in detention, agenda-responsive preventive monitoring, up to noon. Yeah, we shall proceed by lunch. The Commission has also prepared the delegates' visit to the Genocide Memorial Site and to the museum thereafter. Yeah, we have a team of 3 doctors here present that in case any emergencies happen, you may contact one of our protocol members here, or you can call on this number. If you have your pen, you can write it down. It is +250 788 881 336. If you need help, you can call this number. Or you can contact any of our protocol teams around. Yeah. For those who need the interpretation services, for English, you can use channel 1. For French, canal 2. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, allow me to invite Honorable Chairperson, Madame Omurungi Providence, Chairperson of the National Commission for Human Rights of Rwanda, to give her opening remarks. Honorable Chairperson, the floor is yours.
economy, solidarity. That's why we are here. This conference is our incubator for solutions. We are here to share best practices, confront our institutional bottlenecks, and build the technical capacities required to make our oversight bodies truly formidable shields against abuse. Honorable PS, distinguished participants, on behalf of the National Commission for Human Rights of Rwanda and the entire organizing team, I wish to express my sincere gratitude to the government of Rwanda, represented by the Minister of Justice, for honoring us with your presence despite the demanding schedule. The minister was supposed to be here, but as I said, the tight schedule, something came up. But we are pleased to have PS with us. And also we want to recognize, we also to express our profound gratitude to ANPMN Steering Committee, the Secretariat, our international partners, and the dedicated staff of the Commission who have worked tirelessly to make this event possible. So to all our delegates who have traveled from every corner of Africa, of our beautiful continent, thank you for your tireless defense of human dignity, and thank you for being here. I encourage you then to engage for these next 3 days, to engage in a candid, bold dialogue over the next 3 days. Let us craft a blueprint for detention monitoring that leaves no one and no child behind. It's my pleasure to once again welcome you all and wish you a pleasant stay to Kigali. Most of you, they told me it's the first time. We try to have a program which is flexible, so you can have time also to breathe and feel the fresh air, the greenery of Kigali. So I wish you all highly fruitful and impactful deliberations. Thank you all very much for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson, for your kind opening remarks. Honorable guest of honor, allow me to invite Mr. Sebohogo Gilbert, the Executive Secretary, the Executive Director of the Network of the African National Human Rights Institutions, to give his opening remarks. Mr. Gilbert, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. A very good morning to all. Allow me, Excellency, the Permanent Secretary, the Minister for Justice, representing the Minister, Madam Amina Boyat, the Chair of the Global Network of African of NHRIs, and of course the chairperson of the Network of National Preventive Mechanism in Africa. Allow me to stand on protocol as established. Welcome indeed to my home country. For those who thought that I don't have one, here we are. I'm particularly happy to see some former colleagues, friends, in the judiciary, the security sector, because I used to be part of them one day. I'm honored to be here, and I'd like to see this opportunity to really express our gratitude to the National Commission for Human Rights of Rwanda, led by Madame Murungi Providence, for welcoming us. And of course, I'd like to express our sincere gratitude to the African network of national preventive mechanism under the leadership of Madame Boyage for organizing this gathering. Across Africa, we are witnessing growing commitment to strengthening justice and detention systems guided by shared values and human dignity. This progress reflects an important shift towards placing the rights of and well-being of persons deprived of liberty at the center of national and regional efforts. I particularly commend the increasing focus given to this important area, including the strengthening of preventive approaches and the expansion of oversight mechanisms across our continent. The establishment of national preventive mechanism in several countries is also a significant milestone, reflecting strong political will and recognition of the importance of independent monitoring in preventing ill treatment and improving detention conditions. Despite these positive developments, efforts to strengthen justice and detention systems continue to be shaped by persistent structural challenges. Overcrowding, prolonged pretrial detention, limited access to legal aid, inadequate rehabilitation services, and resource constraints remain realities in many detention facilities across the continent. This trend is fundamentally driven by an over-reliance on incarceration rather than restorative options, causing correctional infrastructure to buckle under severe capacity demands. While these challenges affect many persons deprived of liberty, their impact is often most severe on women and children. Women in detention continue to face institutional barriers in accessing gender-responsive healthcare, psychological support, educational, vocational opportunities, and appropriate rehabilitation. Likewise, children deprived of liberty remain exposed to severe protection risks, including prolonged detention and a lack of educational or family support. In many contexts, underfunded juvenile work frameworks result in an insufficient separation from adult detainees, exposing children to immense vulnerability while cutting them off from basic schooling and vital family contact during their most formative years. These realities underscore the need for detention monitoring approaches that are actively responsive to the specific vulnerabilities and protection needs of different groups. The theme of this conference today comes at a particularly defining moment for our continent. Centering our dialogue on women and children in detention brings to the forefront groups whose lived experience are too often pushed to the margins of broader reform discussions. This focus is also a clear call to action. Preventive monitoring cannot stand still. It must keep evolving, becoming sharper and more responsive to reality on the ground if it is to truly identify and address the unique risks faced by women, children, and all other vulnerable groups deprived of liberty. Honorable participants, distinguished guests, regional and national human rights instruments consistently affirm that prevention is the most effective safeguard against torture and other forms of ill treatment. This preventive approach is strongly reflected at the regional level through the African Charter on Human People's Rights, the Robben Island Guidelines, and the Luanda Guidelines on Arrests, Police Custody, and Pretrial Detention, and related standards adopted under the African human rights system. With this broader framework, normative landscape, the optional protocol to the Convention Against Torture provides a firm framework that operationalizes the preventive approach through the establishment of national preventive mechanisms. Dear guests, as detention systems become increasingly complex, preventive work must evolve in parallel. Effective monitoring now requires more than documenting conditions of detention. It requires a deeper understanding of how different factors such as gender, age, disability, social exclusion, and caregiving responsibility shape the lived experience of persons deprived of liberty. It also requires monitoring approaches capable of identifying hidden vulnerabilities, detecting emerging risks early, and translating findings into recommendations that support meaningful and sustainable institutional reform. I think, I do believe, that, and we all agree, that NHRIs play a significant role in advancing the prevention of torture and ill treatment, and in strengthening the protection of persons deprived of liberty across the continent. This role is not only grounded in their statutory mandates, but also in their unique positioning as independent state institutions capable of bridging the gap between international human rights standards and national implementation realities. We must remember that true reform cannot be designed solely from the comfort of our offices. It requires us to look at the system through the eyes of those at its absolute margins. Long before he became a global statesman, Nelson Mandela was stripped of his name and locked away as a Class D prisoner, the lowest status possible in an unjust system in South Africa. Yet it was from that very cell that he gave a truth that rules this room today in this meeting. He said, and I quote, "No one truly knows a nation until one has been inside its jails." End of quote. Driven by this, our network advances this critical agenda forward through systemic capacity building of NHRIs, enabling them to effectively monitor places of detention and document ill treatment. Our network campaigns tirelessly for continent-wide ratification of the OPCAT and provide technical and legal support to strengthening national institutions as fully operational, independent national preventive mechanisms.
My name is Brenda van Berg, and I
However,
work as a public health advisor for Dignity, the Danish Institute Against Torture.
Experience reminds us that
Unfortunately, I was not able to travel to Kigali and be with you all in person today. But I'm happy to have a
ultimate goal is to translate these international commitments into concrete, visible action on the ground. A shining example is the establishment of the Africa Pretrial Detention, which was established in 2015, and it is celebrated or commemorated every year on the 15th of April. And I would like to thank the partners who supported this process. I can see the APT, Association for the Prevention of Torture, as well as APCOF, and NHRIs continue to use this as a framework to monitor detention facilities to make them more human. Honorable delegates, distinguished guests, as we move forward, there is a clear need to sustain and deepen collaboration among all relevant actors in this space, ensuring that prevention work remains grounded in practical realities and responsive to evolving challenges within detention systems. The progress we seek will depend on our ability to translate commitments into consistent practices and to ensure that no one is left behind in conditions of vulnerability or neglect.